Welcome to Leverage to Build Wealth, where we discuss and educate entrepreneurs, mortgage, real estate, and financial service professionals on how to leverage tools and other people's experience to truly leverage to build wealth to create the lifestyle and legacy you desire. Hello, welcome to today's episode of Leverage to Build Wealth. My special guest today is Luke Shankula from Loans on Demand. And before we get into it, I want to let you know he's really special to my heart because unawares of him directly, I was learning and growing a lot from watching and listening to his podcast, and it has helped change my life on so many different perspectives. While I was listening to him, I'm probably about 90 episodes deep on his podcast. I was realizing my perfectionism was holding me back, not helping me. So I'm a recovering perfectionist. And I owe a lot of my progress in where I'm moving forward to just listening to Luke, and I've messaged him directly every now and then through Facebook about it and my progress on it. But I was really excited and I'm honored to have him on. He's got a really incredible story. He has an incredible resource for loan officers on building their business. But first, without any further ado, Luke, welcome to our show.
Man, thank you so much for having me. And obviously it's an honor to be on here and an honor to have had some sort of impact, man. I know you kind of messaged me a while back about going through all the podcast episodes, and you said, "Hey, I'm going to start at the beginning." I'm like, "No, don't do that. Those are the bad ones. What are you talking about? Start at the end." But you said, "Nah, I want to see the journey and see how you've improved." So pretty cool to be here and come full circle. And what I'll say is I started my podcast because of a podcast, the Entrepreneur on Fire podcast with John Lee Dumas. I was listening to that, and that actually got me into entrepreneurship and also got me to start a podcast. So podcast can be a very powerful mechanism for change and for growth. So, man, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Man, that's full circle. That's really cool. It is amazing how this avenue can help connect in a way that is perfect. And it'll go into our topic later on having creating viral content, and I'll use viral in a couple different other contexts than what's traditionally being used in today's context, because when you're talking about stuff that's infinite and scalable and works 24/7, I mean, you created this podcast. It looks like it was June of 2018. I mean, your work from 2018 or so is whenever it looked like it was
2020. Yeah, 2020 is when the podcast actually launched. 2018 was about when I started really getting into the marketing. I actually started in 2017, but kind of getting into marketing. But yeah, the actual podcast I launched, I think sometime. I talked about it for a while. I think I talked about it since 2019 and 2020, and then it took me months and months and months and months and months before I finally did it. And I was actually paying a podcast production company $1,000 every month, and I wasn't doing it. And finally, the guy calls me up and he says, "Dude, either I'm canceling this or you freaking get me 3 episodes by Friday." And so that's where those first 3 episodes came from, was him basically saying, "I'm not going to take your money anymore unless you freaking produce these podcasts." And that's what got me off my butt, got me started. And I had some false starts here and there. I kind of fell off, I think, twice in that time where I didn't produce for a little bit. But overall, I mean, basically been running the podcast pretty consistently since I think middle of 2020 sometime.
Well, that's awesome though, right? And so I think this is a testament to, like, once you do it, it's out there. You kind of leave it and forget it. You just work on your new stuff.
Right.
It's a testament to that. We'll circle back to that. But Luke, tell us about your family. Tell me your story. I know you grew up in Ecuador, for some missionary family. But tell us your story.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, so let's start there, man. I was born and raised in Ecuador. Parents were missionaries. And so basically grew up in a third world country. That was my whole life. I loved it. I loved living there. I love the Latino culture. I love everything about it. And so, I kind of grew up with a lot of change. I grew up with a lot of We moved a few times, quite a few times as an early kid. We also came back to the U.S. For a few months every couple of years, and so spent some time kind of being in different cultures and seeing all that stuff. So that's been a big impact, I think, on my adaptability and things like that as as an adult, being able to, and then also obviously speaking Spanish is a pretty pretty nice tool, especially living in San Diego. Born and raised there, lived there till I was 16. Came to the U.S. when I was 16, so I was going into my junior year of high school. I was pissed, didn't want to come. I wanted to stay, finish out. I'd been at the same school with the same people since third grade. So I was leaving behind all of my friends, basically lifelong friends. So that was a little sad. Came to the U.S. 16, went to Christian high school. Went to played soccer in college. Then met my wife in college, and the rest is history, right? We had 4 kids now. We got married in I think 2012. Yeah, I think 2012. So we've been married for quite a few years now. We have 4 beautiful kids, 2 girls, 2 boys, just perfect little family, and in 2017 or so, let's rewind a little bit. 2013 or so, I got employed by a reverse mortgage company. I knew nothing about the mortgage industry, much less reverse mortgages. I remember the first person that I talked to, that I told I was leaving the company I was at. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna go scam old people, huh?"
Oh, wow.
What is he talking about? Right? Like I was like so confused as to what he was talking about. And obviously, as I went into the reverse mortgage industry, I realized how much of the sort of the myths around reverse mortgages and obviously there is some negative connotations around reverses because there was a point in time where they were pretty predatory, and there's a lot of protections now that are in place, and people still kind of have that misconception. I think that product is a fantastic product. I've seen how many lives have been changed
Yes.
with that product. So for loan officers that maybe are listening to this, look into it if you haven't done one. I'm not saying you have to originate reverses, but at least understand them.
Yeah.
So if there's someone that comes across into your business that may or may not need access to funds, the reverse mortgage is a great product to, one, help people live out their retirement without running out of money, or 2, really have a good financial planning tool if they do it the right way as well. So there's a lot of cool things there. Anyway, this isn't about reverse mortgages, but so did that from about 2012, 2013. I can't remember exactly when I started there. And then 2017, January of 2017, I basically worked my way through the company. I was a post-closing, processing intake, processing. I went over to broker coordinator for about 6 months, which was support for the AE team. And then about 6 months into that, they said, "Hey, you know what? I think you're ready to be an AE." Threw me into being an AE, and did that for about 2 years, probably 2.5 years. And then January of 2017, they decided to they went out of business, right? They shut down everything, and got laid off in January. To go back to Entrepreneur on Fire, for whatever reason, in June, July of 2016, the company was obviously having some financial difficulties, so they ended up doing a round of layoffs, right? Maybe they were trying to see if they could survive. Yeah. They did a round of layoffs. They let go a lot of the operations staff, right? So our turn times went from like 24 to 48 hours to, let's say, 5-6 days, right? So 1 to 2 days versus 5-6 days. And our pricing to the brokers was like, maybe a quarter to a half off, right?
Oh, wow.
So people are like,
so
"Man,
you just
I like you."
accelerated the loss,
Yeah, it was like, well, no, I'm saying like the quarter, like we couldn't get the business because we were priced out of the market. Like we weren't competitive enough to gain market share, nor did we have
the closing time. So it made it worse.
Right.
And longer to close. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. Well, and so it was like we were paying less to the brokers, right? We were paying less to the brokers. And so these guys would be like, "Man, like I like you, Luke. You're a great AE. You're one of the best, but I just can't afford to, one, lose $3,000 to $5,000 on this deal, and then also your company sucks, bro. Like, let's just be honest."
Yeah.
And so I went through this sort of period, right, where I blamed everybody but myself, right? It was like, "Man, the company this, company that." Like, this is before I had done any personal development. I hadn't ever, I thought Tony Robbins was a snake oil salesman. I just kind of thought, again, growing up as a missionary,
Yeah.
kid, a lot of that sort of mindset stuff, woo-woo stuff was, it's bad, it's forbidden, whatever, right? So
Yeah.
I was kind of like weird about it. And so I kind of went through this period of grief, drinking way too much.
Yeah.
We'd go out to lunch with the Inside AE team, and we'd have a couple beers, sometimes a couple more than a couple beers.
Yeah.
Not proud of a couple times driving home, stuff like that, right? And so
Yeah.
that kind of went on for a while. Around October of that year, I decided, for whatever reason, I had a whim. Maybe it's God, I don't know, but had a whim that I should buy this little Bluetooth connector, right? That goes into the little cigarette lighter thing.
Oh, okay.
Because I had this old 1998 Acura at the time, and it didn't have any, way to play, anything for my phone. So I got the little Bluetooth thing, and I just Googled best business podcast. Entrepreneur on Fire pops up.
Really?
Okay, cool. I start listening to that.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, that's what started sparking this idea that, like, maybe I could be an entrepreneur. I had always had these dreams of, like, I wanted to be a CEO. I want to be a big dog, right? I've always been pretty aspirational in terms of that, and I have some pretty lofty goals, but I kind of had this idea that I was going to work my way up the corporate ladder.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I realized maybe that's not the thing, right? And obviously working in a kind of crappy company for 2.5, 4 years really, but the last couple of years had been even worse. And so, working for that bad experience in the corporate world, I was like, man, I need to figure out how to do this myself. So then January of 2017 got laid off. And so I don't know if you have any questions on any of that. I'll kind of leave it up to you.
I'll circle back.
Okay, cool. All right. So then from then on, I started a contract processing business. I basically found out that, like, 2 days before, my boss found out that we were all going to get laid off. So I was able to kind of grab a list of all our brokers. I created a little little website using Wix. I created a new Gmail account, and then, like, basically the day we got laid off, I sent out a blast to everybody saying, hey, just wanted to let everybody know that we got laid off. Unfortunately, we're just shutting things down. They'll still fund your loans, no worries. But I did decide to start a contract processing business. So I picked up 2 deals from that, 2 contract processing deals.
Awesome.
$1,000 a pop, right? Made
That's
$2,000.
That's crucial when you're transitioning from losing your job. I mean, that's a life-saving, lifeline there.
Well, and the more important thing, I think, was the fact that I made money outside of a corporate setting. So I was like, oh, this is a real, I could do this.
Yeah.
Well, I went on to one. And what's cool too is I had roughly $20,000 in severance. I never took vacation. Right. I was a great worker. Right. I did, probably too great. I lost vacation time because I, wouldn't take the vacation. I was one of those. And so I basically had all this money. It was a perfect time to start a business. I hated contract processing. I'm not a detail-oriented person, right? I'm ADHD. But I was like, you know what? I had talked about starting a brokerage or working for a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
So I went, got my license, and I sort of dabbled in that for a period of time. I started trying to figure out how to generate my own leads. Entrepreneur on Fire comes up again, right? He has this guy, Russell Brunson, on ClickFunnels, founder of ClickFunnels. Then there was other people that had talked about ClickFunnels as well. So I go into ClickFunnels group. They're running this crazy sort of like 2 Club X program. And they're doing this big affiliate push. I'd never even heard what affiliate marketing was, but they're doing this big affiliate push. And this guy, Dan Henry, basically said, hey, if you buy through my link, I'll give you it was $1,000 course, $997 course. I'll include that, right? That'll be one of the bonuses. You get that if you buy through my affiliate link. So I was like, cool. So I bought through his affiliate link. I got access to the course. The very last module of that course was, because it was called Facebook Ads for Entrepreneurs. So the first, 4 or 5 modules were all around how to set up ads, how to set up landing pages, stuff like that.
Okay.
And the very last one was like, hey, here's how you can do this for other people, right? Here's how you can, use this process called the Curious Student. Basically, go on social media and say, hey, I'm learning this stuff. I want to go out and I want to help some businesses. I'm going to do it for free. You just pay the ad spend. And so I put that post out. It was May or June of 2017.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the marketing agency that I now have started. I had my best month ever. Like, like, oh, we're gonna go to sushi. And I still remember like it was like, I don't know, I made like 7 grand or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't anything crazy, but I'd sold like 6 clients in like 6 weeks, which was like game changing. I'm like, holy crap. I had bought a couple programs that finally worked.
Yeah.
One that was for ad buying is Bobby Stocks. He had a program called Ad Agency Hustle, and then another guy, Nick Robbins. And we talked offline, but mindset, right? Mindset was something that I was still kind of coming around to. And the very first module from my buddy Nick Robbins' course was all around mindset, all around morning routine, all around that stuff. And I even remember one of the guys in the program was like, "Hey man, you sold us on a sales course as a joke, right? You sold us a sales course and you gave us a mindset course instead, right?" But again, it showcased the importance of mindset and
Yes.
and having the right routines and that type of stuff. And so, man, that really changed everything and just started to get me into that sort of mode. So again, 2018, 2019 started to grow. And there's some other ups and downs within that time too, but that's kind of the hopefully brief version. I know I kind of went on for a little bit, but the somewhat brief version of my story.
I appreciate that, because no one, I don't know anyone, unless their parents were involved with the mortgage industry, that says, "Hey, I want to get into it." There's usually some kind of way that we either transition to it, get drop kicked into it, falls in our lap, but no one ever says, "Hey, I want to do this," and that's financial services across the board, and
Right.
but it's interesting is because once it kind of gets its grips into you, it's almost impossible to get away. And this is where a lot of people are struggling the past 2 years. It's just like, man, it's such an incredible industry, and there's so many different subsets. Like especially with your service that you provide with your clients, and brokers and so forth, and in helping them out. There's so many incredible opportunities there for anyone attached to the industry. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty darn cool. It's interesting because you mentioned when you're working with the reverse mortgage company, uh, how badly it was being ran a little bit. You learn firsthand what not to do.
Now, as an entrepreneur, I'm like, and I want my team to be trained. Like, I want to give as much training as possible because that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Crazy.
I cannot imagine not having any kind of support. And it's interesting in this industry, so many people that's how their introduction is just go meet realtors, just go do something. And I'm like, I can't fathom that. By the ADHD, I mean, just like no way in hell, but yeah, that's wacky, So you've realized also in developing your company, your that you have now where you're helping brokers provide leads. Talk to me more about like what the actual service is, that if someone was to contact you today, of what you provide. I know it's a long play, and so the brokers need to understand that's part of the success is the long play on it. But tell us a little bit about what you actually do, and then how we're going to bridge that to the topic of today, which is creating viral content.
Sure.
In how you came to the point of where you're like, you know what, I really dig this. This is something I can do passionately versus just hang up my hat and just go get a quote unquote normal job. Which I don't even know what the hell that is. But go ahead.
Yeah, man. So to give context around that first, when I first started, it was, let me figure out how to generate leads as cheap as possible for loan officers. Well, first of all, it wasn't even just loan officers. I didn't really fully commit to just loan officers until towards the end of 2019, 2020, when I said, you know what, I'm not working with anybody else. I had done a bunch of stuff with health insurance, property and casualty insurance, real estate agents, right? I had done a bunch. I dabbled in, basically anybody who would give me money, I would take it over, yeah, pretty much, right? And so I did some real estate investing stuff, again, some just random stuff.
Yeah.
And so when I first kind of started working with loan officers, I was like, man, just get them cheap leads. First, I couldn't figure out how to get them leads. So the first thing was, how do I get leads for loan officers? Because even that program that I went through, the Facebook ads program, the ads were like nothing. Mortgage is a different animal, right? If you can generate mortgage leads, it's just a little bit different, right? They were doing like, oh, well, crazy offer. Here's a crazy offer, $27 offer to a chiropractor. So, well, that's not going to work in mortgage. So I had to kind of figure out what worked. So the first thing was like, let's generate leads. Then it was, oh man, if I can generate a bunch of leads, like that's what they want, right? Nope, that's not what they want. Loan officers don't want cheap leads. They don't want good leads. So I was like, all right, cool. I started figuring out how to do long form leads, right? Long form, higher intent. They're filling out 12, 15 questions, but I was going first time home buyer, right? Down payment assistance type program.
Oof.
Realized quickly, okay, these are great intent leads. They want to buy a house, but most of them can't, right? Like a huge percentage of them can't, because let's be honest, with marketing and internet leads, like you have to filter through a bunch of crap. But with those angles, you're attracting even more of the crap, unfortunately. And I don't want to call it crap because these are still human beings, but unfortunately they have 480 credit scores and $0 in the bank and 7 bankruptcies. I'm being a little bit over the top, but for the most part, that's who you attract, right? And so I started to realize, well, there's got to be a better way. So again, the evolution over the time was like, first I started just short form leads, then switched to long form leads, then added in a CRM that had automations because I realized loan officers sucked at follow up. Then over time I put together a training portal on like sales scripting and stuff like that. I brought in some loan officer coaches to do some training on that. Then we brought in, it's like we built a call center to help set appointments and live transfers. Again, how close to the sale can we get loan officers? And even that, people don't pick up their phone for live transfers. They don't show up to appointments. They don't respond to text messages in the CRM. Like, it just blows my mind, the fact that like these are people that are asking for help and like, nah, we're not going to help them, right? Oh, you know what? And then they want to say that the leads are bad. It's like, dude, like,
wow.
Yeah, most of the leads are bad. Let's be honest. 90+% of internet leads are bad, but you're looking for the gold. And so again, that was the evolution over time. It's like, how do I get them as close to the sale, but also how do we set expectations correctly? How do we support them? And so it was like, got brought in a director of training. So we have someone that worked for New American Funding and also who did worked at Quicken as a loan officer, but he did at New American Funding. He was one of the sales trainers. So we brought him. He does training. He does one-on-ones. We built out all the scripts. We built out automations. We have one-on-one training. Then we started doing real estate appointments as well. In my opinion, I honestly was shocked when I found out that loan officers don't even know how to have conversations with real estate agents. It's like, what's their value proposition? How do you run a discovery call?
Yes.
You're just used to just showing up and be like, hey, can I have some leads, please? I'm cool. I answer my phone. I pick, but it's like, dude, wow. Like, you're the same as everybody else.
That's your job description. That's not a value add. Like,
right.
That's expected,
But again, I mean, let's be honest. Real estate agents have been brainwashed by loan officers to think that is the gold standard. And to be honest, that is the minimum standard. Yes. If you can't do those things, fix that before you start trying to figure out how you can get them more business. Because if you can't do those things right, the fundamentals right, no amount of generating your own leads and handing these off to realtors is going to get you consistent business. Yeah. You have to be a good loan officer first. That's the foundation. That's the fundamentals. Yes. Then you can add in stuff like, hey, a direct consumer lead buy, a YouTube channel, TikToks and Reels and Shorts and all that kind of stuff. Again, getting direct to consumer. How do you get in front of more people? But you have to have the fundamentals first. And I tell new loan officers all the time, don't buy leads. Don't pay for marketing. Cold call, go network, go talk to people. I know it sucks. That's how you need to do the reps first before you just burn through a bunch of money and.
Yeah, it's kind of like intro to business 101. That's the hustle and the grind that's just part of the tuition you got to pay, and I agree to that, without reservation, and I think, you're talking about having a value add, that's definitely crucial, right? But you got to be able to know how to work. If you don't know how to work, everything else is pointless. It's actually worse than pointless, because you spent most likely a lot of money on that. And then people wonder, like, man, why am I not profitable? I'm like, well, you're buying stuff you're not using, and you're not using what doesn't cost anything, which is hustle and grind. I mean, hustle and grind doesn't cost money. It costs effort, which is the most important thing, but.
Well, and to be honest, most people buy leads thinking that they're going to I just want a way to automate 2-3 more loans a month. I'm like, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. If you're looking for that lead, it doesn't exist. That may be a referral, but even a referral needs to be worked.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an automated 2 to 3 more loans a month. You have to work for it. You have to change. Either you have to work for it, or you have to create systems and bring people onto your team that can do that, so that you don't necessarily have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
But there's no automated way to just, because if there was, why the hell would you get paid as a loan officer? Why would you make 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 grand on a deal?
Yeah.
If these are just showing up on your doorstep and applying by themselves and, sending in docs by themselves, like that's what you get paid for.
I have found, and through my observations and listening to other, other people who are really top performers, who I look up to quite a bit, people who I admire and follow, and continuously learn from. That's one thing I learned a long time ago, is not to put my ego in front of my paycheck. Is that was an expensive lesson, to learn. Was like, hey, you know what? I'm always coachable, always learning. Is it's not always be closing. Like you hear the ABC, from that old
Stupid.
Stuff with the Alec Baldwin, ABC always be closing. But the thing is, reality, it's always marketing. You always got to be at the front of marketing. If you're not marketing and always being out there and finding creative ways to attract consumers to you, and doing that. And that's one thing from listening to your podcast and just following you on Facebook and seeing what you're doing is really, you got to be forefront on delivering your message, and not just all business, because when we're talking about viral content, I'm thinking, like, when I think of viral, I don't think of just like a video that went crazy that doesn't monetize you or do anything. It's just something that was funny and shared a lot. I'm talking about something that blows your business up,
right?
A true fire. When I think of viral, that's what I think of. I don't think of a popular video that was shared but doesn't do anything. It's just funny. Ah, ha, ha, ha. You got a lot of likes and shares. It's like, what does this mean to your business? Like, is your business blowing up? Is your business doing well? And it's amazing, because with the loan officers, we have a lot of the ebb and flow, right? You get all this business and you warp focus on that. So you stop marketing, you stop doing any kind of meeting with your important referral partners and in avenues of attracting business, because you're working on the files. Then you get those closed, and then you're like, oh my God, I got no business, and you go through this roller coaster of hell that most loan officers have gone through, especially brokers, and you realize, what, if you're not continuously marketing and putting keeping the door open, right? Keeping the door open for business, then you're guaranteed to ride this roller coaster of hell forever until you're ultimately burnt out, and what I love in kind of transition this a little bit is, you've been talking a lot for quite some time now about AI and leveraging AI and other tools. So going to the concept, okay, we got people, business owners who are hustling, they're grinding, they're doing what they can to take care of their business, handle their clients, and they're like, hey, how do I level this up? A lot of people feel that 2024 is going to be the bounce back year, on myself included. I feel that the best is yet to come, although we have had a couple of really great years. Past 2 years has sucked. I got my teeth kicked in with a whole lot of other people, but holding on to stay into the industry, because I know that there's the best is yet to come. But a lot of people who've trimmed back, they've scaled their business backwards or whatever they need to do to right size their business. And they're like, you know what? I know that I need to be able to take this to the next level. I know there's tools. I may not know how to use them, but what do I need to do to help my business really go off? And I think grow the right way, not grow for growth's sake, but grow the right way, so you don't break your system, so you don't break your company. Um, Tell us a little bit about some of the tools that you're using and that you're sharing with other loan officers, your clients, that are helping them scale to make their business viral, not just a post, but to be able to help them understand how to really thrive. What are some of the topics you'd like to share on that?
Sure, man. Real quick, just to kind of touch on you talked about always be marketing, and what I don't like about the always be closing line is, that's not what sales is. Sales to me is identifying a problem. If you have the solution to that problem, then provide it. And you should convince them. If you really do believe you are the best loan officer for them, you should convince them to move forward, right? If they have the down payment, the credit, the income. Like, people are so scared to sell in this industry, even though like we were supposedly salespeople in the mortgage industry, but they're so scared to sell. They want to hide behind advisor, or they want to hide behind educator. And it's like, that's cool. But part of being part of being a salesperson and a loan officer is you do so many more transactions than them, right? Like, you know what, if it's good or not decision, right? If they can afford to buy a house right now, it's probably a good decision. Unless you're trying to sell in a year, then of course, be ethical about it. But that's what ethical sales is.
Yes.
Is, hey, you know what? You may be able to tell them, I can't do this. But yeah, and then marketing, you're right. I'll always be marketing. There's the curse of the 2 to 3 loans a month. Loan officer is like, they go, hey, they're like, oh man, I got so busy, got to get these deals closed. They forgot to prospect. I mean, we talked about fanatical prospecting, and I talk about that all the time. It's just like, there's that 30-day rule. The actions that you take over the next 30 days have repercussions for the next 90 to 120 days.
Yes.
So understanding that is pivotal. Now, getting into viral content, what I'll say is this. Think about what you are wanting to accomplish when it comes to organic content, if that's what we're going to talk about, is organic content. I'm not going to say that I am the king of viral, but what I will say is I have made a lot of money off organic marketing, and a lot of that came down to sort of this choice to be authentic. And I know that sounds cliche because everybody talks about be authentic, but I made a choice to be truly authentic, right? Because people talk about it, they've tossed that word around, but most people are just parading around, just sharing the good stuff about their life and not the hard stuff. So what I basically said, I'm going to show up and I'm going to talk about the hard stuff. Maybe not while I'm going through the hard stuff, but I'll talk about the hard stuff that I've learned lessons from in the past. Because everybody's dealing with hard stuff. I mean, we're humans. We deal with hard stuff.
Yeah.
And so the way I viewed organic content, right? Posting on social, posting on Facebook, making videos, stuff like that, is like, what's the point? The point is to bring value to the people who we're posting for.
Yeah.
It's not to get business, right? Again, so many people like, I'm going to use social media to get business, and it's like, cool. Like, awesome. But if you're just posting listings, or if you're just sharing only business stuff, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust, that they are connected with, that they feel like are similar to them, right? You do business with people that are similar to you. So how do you know if you're similar to someone if you only share business stuff? No one wants to do business with a stuffy person that only talks about business all the time.
Yeah, it's boring as hell.
Yeah, they want to do business with a guy that's talking about, hey, I just went to this birthday bash this weekend with my kids. It's been crazy. Man, I just had a soccer tournament all weekend. I'm freaking tired. I went golfing. Whatever it is, I have my dog. I mean, whatever. If you're not married, if you don't have kids, like, what is it that you're passionate about? Do you like to golf? Do you like to play soccer? Do you like to freaking play basketball? I don't know, whatever it is, like, talk about the things you like. You're going to attract people to you. And then, oh, hey, by the way, I'm a loan officer, right? It's like, you do want to have some business content, which I do as well. But a lot of it is showcasing stories and things like that. And so when it comes to these tools, these AI tools and stuff like that, my opinion, don't touch those things. And by that, don't touch those things. What I mean is, like, I would mess with them if I were you. But from a content perspective, is like, you don't know what's good. So don't. So you need to get good first. Just like I talk about being a loan officer. I was not a good writer on social media when I first started. Here's the truth. If you're not consistently posting on social media right now, that means you're probably not getting very much reach, which means if you make a post and it sucks, maybe your grandma and your dad and your whatever, your mom's going to see it, but like, there's not going to be a lot of people to see it. Right. And over time, you're going to develop the muscle, understand what works, what gets engagement, what doesn't, what type of content people like. And then I believe you can start to delve into these products like ChatGPT and Claude and things like that. But the truth is, right now, I see so many people that are like going into ChatGPT and putting out garbage content. And more garbage content is not going to lead to results. Unfortunately, like, we can tell if you put elevate in your if you have elevate in your post, if you have the star emoji in your post, if you hit unleash, I'm gonna know instantly that you're using AI, and that's someone who uses AI a lot. People are gonna notice. People are gonna notice if it's a real post or not. So again, I mean, I don't want to like poop with these AI stuff because I'm talking about AI all the time, but most people don't even know how to do good marketing. And so now they're like, they don't know what good marketing looks like. And so they're coming over here to ChatGPT thinking, oh, this is great. No, it's crap. So you understand copywriting, understand marketing, understand human psychology, understand the things that are going to get people to make moves first. That's the most fundamental thing you need to learn. And then leverage AI to help you save time, right? Figure out what are the frameworks for short form video. What is the best framework for that? Okay, you need a hook. What does a hook sound like? Go listen to the top viral ones. They all have a hook. What do they say at the very beginning? Hey, there's the 3 reasons why you should buy a house today. That's probably not a great hook, but like things like that, right? Like just very like, if you're in the market to buy a home, you're gonna, man, let me actually listen to this video.
Well, I hear that. I also think of a more of a simple way. I love R&D, rip off and
Yeah,
duplicate.
yeah,
I think one of the easiest ways, um, without having to feel like you have to have a PhD in marketing, like I wouldn't know the difference if the post itself is from AI generated. Like you mentioned those buzzwords, like I wouldn't know, like if I read that from a post as a normal person, and I think I'm pretty darn smart, I wouldn't know if it's AI generated or not. And I wouldn't really care if it's AI generated or not. I just care if it's got good content. On
right,
the other hand, though, I can't stand those damn pictures where AI generates the pictures and you don't even proof it and you see stuff that looks like it started off as a sentence and ended up with symbols,
right,
or
right,
you
right.
got 6 and 7 fingers, or a leg that comes out of nowhere, or some of those weird AI images,
Sure,
or maybe copy that doesn't make sense, because it just seems kind of jumbled. But I do understand, like, hey, you just do a simple Google search, or look on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, things that are really popping off really good, that look really neat. Like Neil, he
right.
I don't know his last name, but Neil, who does a lot of
Neil Dingra.
yeah, he does a lot of incredible videos and stuff, and you're like,
Yep.
wow, this is really cool. It connects. Rip off and duplicate it. R&D. It's a business where I don't know that much that's actually proprietary. There's just so
Yeah,
many rehashed ideas, but you can get creative. But even beyond that part, I you mentioned something that really resonates with me is connecting, with people. I see your 4 kids all the time. I see you doing family trips, see you in the airport, and you look at your Facebook, you see yourself at Disneyland and all these other cool places. I mean, you live in beautiful San Diego, but
right.
you'll talk about different places that you're going, you're connecting. As a dad, family man with 5 kids, 5 young kids at home, it I get that. It resonates. I like seeing that. It's fun. You want to be around people who are like you, and it makes sense. So like you're like, all right, whenever I want to move forward with something, I want to connect with this person. This person really resonates. We speak the same kind of language, or I like them enough. And so going to where you talk about being authentic, what kind of stuff you're putting out there, that really resonates with me. So as a dad, it really resonates with me when I see your post online. I see you hauling your kids everywhere, and it's a chore. Not that people who don't have a large family don't understand how much it's a task to do
Yep.
something, to get all these kids out somewhere. So I don't know. It's just one of those weird, quirky things, like it resonate, has nothing to do with the service and all that you put out with Loans on Demand. But I like it. I'm like, you know what? He gets it. When you look on Facebook and you see your kids climbing all over you, and stuff, I'm like, all right, he's a dad too. He gets it. And but the same point, it's like whenever it comes to, like, what? Whenever I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to use your service, you're the only option. Like it's not about price shopping. It's not about, oh, let me do my research. It's like, no, I like this guy. I want to do business with him.
Right.
I've got so much value from him, uh, and entertainment. It's funny. At the same time, you're offering great value. I mean, you have so many different webinars and stuff that you put out there. So whenever that service is needed, it's top of mind. It's already there. It's not even needing to be sold. It's just needing the service whenever that time comes, in jumping on it. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand when they play the long game with marketing. You
Mhm.
know, it's being known, being familiar, being recognized to where people is like, you know what, I get it. I mean, Geico isn't, wait there manning the phone every time they air a commercial and they're like, all right, let's man the phones. It's all about being out there, being familiar, and being the choice that whenever the opportunity is, boom, the phone rings,
Right.
and from the business side, answering the phone, like you mentioned, and that shouldn't be your hallmark of your business. And there are a lot of people I love and respect in the business, and they say all the time, answer your damn phone. And I'm like, I get that, but I'm like, that shouldn't be uh, your value add. That should just
Right.
be, you know, part of business.
For sure.
With what you've seen, and you've worked with a lot of top tier organizations, you've seen where your business has helped a lot of businesses do really well and increase their effectiveness, their reach. Um, and you've also, let's get real, the past 2 years have kicked this industry in the teeth pretty damn
Yeah.
hard. You
Yeah.
know, what are what are you doing for your business and what you're recommending to your clients of how we move forward, if there's anything that we pivot from, like what are your real recommendations of, hey, you know what, here's where we go from here.
Sure. So let's start with what I think from a loan officer's perspective, because I don't most loan officers don't necessarily have the same resources I do, so I don't want to I don't want to push someone down like a rabbit hole of chasing some of the stuff I'm doing because, I didn't have the resources when I got started either. And if you're just kind of a loan officer getting started, or maybe just trying to get back on your feet, my suggestion is this: one, sit down and actually think about like what is that you can do better than anybody else, different than anybody else, really different. I mean, you've had Jason Frazier. Jason talks about different first, then better, and I talk about this on the podcast sometimes. This concept that I learned from Russell Brunson, which is the improvement offer versus the new opportunity offer. And for anybody who's listening to this, what an offer is kind of the way that you present your services to the public, right? Whether that be the realtors that you want to pitch or the consumers that you want to work with. So that is pivotal, right? Like, what do you do that's different? And so when I think about that, like, my buddy Skyler, he calls it his guarantee stacking. So he has all these different guarantees that he talks about, like a guarantee that they're going to follow up with every single referral X amount of time. I think it's 6 times or 7 times within the first 4 days. He has a guarantee that they will, again, I don't remember all the guarantees, but he talks about that. So when he pitches a real estate agent, he's saying, oh, I got this guarantee and I got this guarantee and I got this guarantee and I can do this and I can do that and I can do this. And we're going to convert it X percentage higher. Do you think when a real estate agent listens to that and they listen to the next guy that says, hey, so I answer my phone. I've been in the industry for 15 years. We got good rates. Do you think who do you think they're going to work with? Right. So as a loan officer or a real estate agent, even, or whoever's listening to this, if you're a business person, like what is it that makes you unique? Why would someone work with you instead of everybody else?
Yes.
And people sometimes like, I don't know. I don't know that I do anything better. I'm like, then figure that out. There's plenty of free resources out. I mean, go listen to my podcast, listen to Tom's podcast. Like there are so many YouTube, right? There's so many resources out there. You don't know AI? Go learn AI. Teach a real estate agent how to use AI for their business. You don't know how to run ads? Go to Google. I just put up a Facebook ad, YouTube video. Go learn how to do that yourself. Run a couple ads, generate some leads. Boom, you can start handing leads off to your referral partners. Like, how do you stand out? It's not that hard. Start a podcast and start interviewing your real estate agents and put them on a pedestal. Like, it's not that hard, but loan officers have not sat down to figure out what is it that I do better. And then like for the consumer, same thing. Mortgage is a commodity. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We all sell, loan officers sell the same thing. Yeah, some people might be a little bit cheaper, right? Oh, rate. Rate, let's be honest. Yes, rate matters, but not really. What matters is what do you do for that person? Are you fast? Are you efficient? Are you communicating? Are you thinking about their future, right? Are you helping them stack wealth? Or are you, hey, here's a 30-year fixed, boom, let's on to the next one. People are going to forget you if that's how you approach it.
And and I'd also like to add real quick, there's a big difference between commission breath
Yes.
and whether or not they recognize that you truly are trying to connect with them and understand them and find the right thing for them, whatever that may be. If they feel or sense that all you care about is that check on the board or the commission, you lost before you even get any real traction. And I think, kind of
Yeah.
referencing back some of the things that you shared already, and that authentic and that connecting is key to that, right? That differentiator. But yeah, sorry, keep going.
Well, yeah, no, like the just the concept of so many times loan officers will just be like, oh yeah, they're tire kickers if they don't fill out the application before. I'm like, no, like your job as a loan officer is not to just send a freaking link. Like to me, the online application is one of the worst things that has ever happened to the mortgage industry, not because of the application link, but because of the bad habits that loan officers have created by using that link. Because here's the truth. The most important part of this conversation that with a prospect is that first discovery call. Right? Like understanding the situation, where they're going, what do they want to accomplish, what is their lifetime goals. The average home buyer buys, according to monitor based stats, buys one home every 11 years. So in 11 years, you get 2 purchase transactions. And within that time, they typically refinance twice. That's 4 transactions in 11 years. 19% of loan officers, or sorry, the average loan officer retains 19%. So they're only capturing 19% of that repeat business. Because we're so focused on today's business, on picking up today's transactions, we don't follow up with our backlog with the people. We don't want to talk to anybody who's 6 months or more out that's looking for a home. We just want today business. Tomorrow, hey, it's January 31st today. I only care about the business that's going to close in the next 90 days. Otherwise, they're tire kickers, and I'm not going to waste my time on them. That is the worst, in my opinion, the worst mindset to have, because what's going to happen is you're going to continue on the same cycle over and over and over again because you've never built a pipeline of people. Now, the people that build pipelines of people that are 12 months out, guess what? In 12 months, they have a pipeline of people that are now ready to buy.
Yeah.
If so they're not having to do this all the time. And so again, prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. That discovery call is understanding the situation. Like, I honestly think most loan officers are probably committing malpractice because they're throwing someone into a 30-year fixed.
You bet.
Have we actually asked them what they want? What are their goals? What are their dreams? What do they want to accomplish? Are they going to be here at least, 5, 6, 7 years? Like, what's going to happen? Maybe an option, maybe a 7-1 arm is a better option. Maybe it's a 2-1 buy down. Maybe it's a 3-1 buy down. Maybe that doesn't make sense because they want to move in 4 years, 5 years.
To that point, with a little different perspective on it, people who look at this not as a job, not just a business, but as their craft, their career, and that they're experts in their craft. That's one thing. I used to work construction quite a long time ago, and when you work with a craftsman, not just a laborer, everything is different.
Sure.
And when you take your business and you look at it as like, I'm a craftsman, there's so many intricacies, there's so many wonderful things about it. When you're connecting, like when you're talking about that person, they're like, hey, the tire kicker. I'm like, do you understand that they're a referral source as well, whether or not they do business with you today, tomorrow, next week, next year? They could be giving you referrals today. Like how you're talking with people, how you're connecting with them, how you're really giving them the white glove treatment, whether or not a commission comes out of it, whether immediately, down the road, whatever, they will recognize that connection. And I think there's a tremendous amount of missed opportunities. One of the biggest missed opportunities is people asking for referrals and saying, you know what, I'm really excited about how we're going to help you. Is there anyone else that you feel that can use my service to be able to connect with them? So I want to be able to help out as many people as I can. I have a mission to be able to help people fill in the blank. And now you have committed people to you long term that they're going to share their circle, but they're not going to do that if you're a douchebag. Let's get real. Yep. If all you got is commission breath and all you care about is, how quick you can see your paycheck, but when you really have that mission, and I honestly feel if you're passionate about it, you don't need discipline, because discipline takes care of itself if you're passionate about something. Your passion that drives you, gives you that focus. The discipline is the protocols, it's the formalities, it's the going through it. But if you don't have passion, well, then you really need discipline, right? It's a whole different story. You're, being pushed to wake up. But when you have something that's passionate that drives you and you got a mission that you're trying to accomplish, and you can convey that in an appropriate manner that connects with everyone at their own level, at their level, and in not in a condescending way, but in a true connecting way. I honestly feel that every connection, even for the people who's like, you know what, I was going for a gift card, bro. I'm sorry. I was, they're clicked online and they thought they're getting a $10 Applebee's gift card or Walmart gift card or Best Buy, or I've seen those kind of leads before. And you're like, oh my
Oh, those are
God,
terrible.
and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, you know what? That's no problem. And you transition to like, before we hang up, I know you don't want to do anything. I'm doing a poll just to help my business. I'm trying to think of ways I can help connect people and help them out financially. Again, I'm not asking you to commit to something, but would you say are some of the financial concerns that keep you up at night, or maybe some of your friends? Has nothing to do with the conversation, right? Of what the lead was, even if it's a totally, let's get real, a shit lead. You're like, holy crap, I can't believe this happened. But you switch that to a conversation where you're trying to connect with people, and you might actually end up with a client or a referral or something like that out of it, because you're really connecting with people. And I think that's where your mission really comes into play here, which is really my undertone of how to create something viral, is being uh mission and passion focused.
Hmm.
To use that to kind of help close us out a little bit here, is when you have a fuel behind you that no one can take from you. No one else can give it to you. You're your own energy conductor, right? You're not worried about the energy of the room. You're bringing your energy. You're not worried about what other people are doing or having to be motivated by somebody else. It's internally because of your own mission, your own passion. And I mention that because hearing your journey, right? And this is why I love hearing other people's journeys, because there's these moments of decision that something's not right. You're just like, I don't really dig that. I don't follow that philosophy. That internal radar says, I think I got something better for you. Now, everyone may have a different label of what they call that. They can call their conscious, God, the universe, whatever. But I have found in my own life that when you pay attention to that, again, whatever you want to call it, it will lead you to what is viral in your life. That passion that drives you, that compels you to move forward, that nothing in your way will stop you. And when you have something like that, and I mean, you see that with our kids. When the kids want something, like there's no you can tell them when they want something. Kids are the best salespeople on the planet. And when they want something and they want to pursue it and they feel that they can do it, there's nothing stopping them. It's when you get to be a teenager and adult when people squash that.
Right.
And it's kind of like putting water on something that should be fed. And so I feel, again, as we wrap this up, when you are marketing, when you're putting forth things out there online, uh, and not online, and just in your social life, when you are driven by passion, knowing what you want, what you're really good at, or what you want to be great at, something that you're tremendously curious about. Now, I got ADHD major, so that can go me and get me into a whole lot of different tangents, but they usually have an underlining tone as to what those interests are tied to.
Right.
And I think when we try to dig deeper internally to try to find out what is that interest trying to satisfy, what is that passion that's lurking there that's just wanting to be unleashed. And I think that when we can dig deep, and that's a whole different kind of episode, but when we can dig deep and really try to channel on what that is, and we can get overcome fear of being criticized by others for a variety of different reasons, whether maybe others, maybe fear of failure, maybe fear of people making fun of them and all that stuff, and those vulnerabilities. But once you get to the point where you can get beyond that and you're like, screw it, this is the message I'm meant to share. This is what I want to do. And I want to be able to connect with people. When you get to that, and I don't want to use the F bomb, but when you get to that blanket kind of confidence that, no, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to drive forward, I find that you're not alone, even though sometimes you may feel it. As you're more confidently pursuing that, you find others that are attracted to you. They're like, I love that message. I love the way you responded to that criticism. I love the way you posted to this. That resonates with me. And then what happens is the law of attraction really is real. It really blows up. And what ends up happening is you start attracting the right kind of people
Right.
to your message. And your mission is really able to thrive, because I don't believe it's about just the amount of quantity. It's the quantity of the kind of people you want to attract, because you also want to detract certain people. There's certain people that you don't want to attract in your business, right? And so
100%.
I would say, I'd rather have 10 people that I really, really want than 100 people that I don't want to be around, and so, but you don't know that unless you're digging deep and you're pushing that forward. And I found that as you put that forward, many people come out of the woodwork wanting to support you and help you, and they will
Yep.
connect you with others. And that's viral. Hey, I want to share this with you. I want you to connect with this person. I've been realizing lately to share a lot more of what I don't know. I'm like, hey, I don't know about this. What's the pros and cons about this? Now, if I wanted to, and I wanted to dig in on YouTube and dig in on Google and just research like crazy, I know I can find some answers, and I'll find a whole lot of competing answers.
Right.
But what I have found to be more connecting for me is just put it on a Facebook post. Hey, what's your guys' thoughts on this? And then I'm interacting with people, and I'm
Well,
getting,
and people love to give advice.
yes. And I'm like, holy moly, I'm getting people. I had a response the other day, yesterday, on some stuff. I'm getting people. I'm like, wow, they actually responded. Wow. Well, okay, that's really cool. I appreciate that. But that comes with vulnerability. And I honestly feel the key to being viral has an aspect of being vulnerable. It's not trying to be the tough,
Right.
indestructible person. I'm an Army veteran. I consider myself pretty tough. I'm a lot softer than I am, than I was, on some things. But I've realized that vulnerability is a true strength. And I think that
Sure.
is a key to going viral. And when you have processes and people and systems in place to help you, um, then you have a true business plan for success. And Luke, that's where I think your business platform is the perfect segue for people who have a message. Because until you really have your message, you're just throwing darts in the dark. But when people have a message that they want to have, and they recognize they're at a point in their business where they need to level up, I think your business is that perfect transition point. And it's like, hey, especially specifically those in the mortgage industry on this one, it's like, hey, I got you. You got your message on point. Let's refine that. Let's put it on, and let's have a long-term plan with it. So with that, Luke, please have the final word and how people can connect with you so they can be able to take advantage of your incredible resources, your business, and truly thrive and really lift off in 2024.
Sure, man. Just one note on what you just talked about is human to human, right? I don't remember where I heard that sort of concept, but human to human is the idea, right? We even talked about crap leads. We talked about, tire kickers. The truth is, at the end of the day, those are humans on the other end of the line. Treat them like you would want to be treated as a human.
Yes.
Stop throwing them in the trash because they're not qualified to buy today. Or maybe they'll never be qualified. These are humans. Treat them like a human. Treat them how you would want to be treated, right? That's the biggest thing from that perspective. And even when you're talking about social media, it's like, show up as a human, right? Like, it's social media. It's Just be social, be who you are. And then, from that perspective, like I think that's the biggest hack to social media. People are looking for hacks to grow on social media, and yeah, there's some certain strategies and things like that, but the truth is, show up consistently online every single day, showcase who you are, give value. Value can be funny, value can be thought leadership, value can be stories, right? Value doesn't have to be some crazy life shattering thing. Provide value. And again, whatever that value is for you. I mean, I personally think memes are valuable. I mean, again, I don't think you should just only post memes, but it, it makes people laugh. It makes people happy. That's valuable, right? Think about, comedians get paid a lot of money to make us laugh. That's value. So just from that perspective, show up as a human, post consistently. Again, people honor consistency. So the more you're consistent on these platforms, one, the algorithm's going to prefer it too, right? Because, but let's not talk about the algorithm. Let's talk about what drives that, right? Because we just talk about the algorithm, it's like, cool, let's fancy algorithm. It's like, no, like, be consistent, show up and bring value, engage with people, be social on the platform. It'll change your business. But again, it's not going to be 30 days, it's not going to be 60 days, it's not going to be 90 days. It's probably going to be 6+ months of consistency on these platforms before you're going to start to see traction. Let's just be honest. People are looking for a quick hack. The hack is the process. The hack is doing the things that you need to be doing consistently over an extended period of time. The hack is stopping looking for hacks, just doing the damn work.
Yes.
So with that being said, places to find us, have the Loans on Demand podcast for loan officers, or I mean, honestly, it would probably be valuable for real estate agents also, but I kind of do poo-poo a little bit on real estate agents, not a ton, but basically the whole point is to help loan officers flip the status quo. So that loan officers can sort of come in as partners. So we got the Loans on Demand podcast on all the different platforms. I think we're at 110 episodes. Somehow Tom has watched 90 of them, so listen to 90 of them, which is crazy. You can find me on Facebook. That's my main platform that I use. I just launched a new YouTube channel. Same thing, Loans on Demand. Got some cool, valuable things dropping in there. I think I have 10 videos right now. Nothing crazy, but we got some big plans on that channel. I'm wanting to grow that. Just provide as much value as possible. So those are the main places. You can probably look me up. Loansondemand.io is our website. But social media, honestly, Facebook's probably the best place to find me.
Thank you so very much, Luke. And you know what? I said you had the last comment. I got to take one more. I'm also in financial services where I help people, with other stuff beyond mortgages. What you talk about goes across many industries. I know your business plan is tied to loan officers, but the content that's on your podcast if people only understand these principles apply so many different industries.
Yep.
They truly do. And people would be doing them a disservice. I learned a long time ago, don't just be so narrow-minded in your focus on one channel to listen into, because sales is sales. Influence and persuasion is there. And understanding how to connect with people is a universal language, no matter what industry you're in. And the amount of value that you truly do offer is real. It's quantifiable. And I consider you a friend now, Luke, more than just a name on Facebook, a podcast person I've heard and listened to, a new friendship. And so thank you so very much for jumping on this opportunity with me, even though we had some tech issues. It's been truly wonderful, and it's been a pleasure connecting with you, brother. Thank you for watching and listening in to today's episode. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can strengthen our mission and get the message out to others on how to leverage to build wealth. Who's next?